America's Voice Live with Steve Gruber.
Matt Gaetz officially out of the race to be considered for the Attorney General position in Donald Trump's incoming administration. Instead, Trump has selected Pam Bondi, the former two-time Attorney General for the state of Florida, as his nominee for that role. Once again, busting glass ceilings. Democrats talk about it. Donald Trump does it. Bondi, a staunch conservative, was a key figure in defending Donald Trump University and played a central role in several high-profile legal battles during her tenure. Known for her advocacy against the Affordable Care Act and her legal prowess, her nomination reflects Trump's ongoing commitment to strong conservative legal women and leadership. Remember how they said that he surrounds himself with women that aren't that bright and so forth? Yeah, how's that working out? Matt Gaetz posted on X showing his support by stating this: "She's a proven litigator, an inspiring leader, and a champion for all Americans. She will bring the needed reforms to DOJ." Join me now to discuss what this might mean for the future Department of Justice is Senior Counsel Gerard Filitti. Gerard, nice to have you here again today. Nice to see you, my friend.
Always a pleasure seeing you.
Look, Pam Bondi's resume is not in question. You know, there was a lot of fuss about, Matt Gaetz, could he be confirmed? I'm not sure that was ever going to be a possibility. Something else might have happened here. Doesn't matter now. And by the time we get to January 20th, nobody's going to remember what happened back in November, because Pam Bondi is the real deal. She's a solid litigator, a real prosecutor, a person who's hard-nosed when it comes to the border, to drug laws, to gun laws. What do you make of it?
She's the real deal. She knows the job, but more importantly, she has the right values. She stood by President Trump in his first impeachment proceedings. She knows the dirty tricks that Democrats have used, whether it's Ukraine or whether it's the opioid crisis. She's been deeply involved in fighting that war, too. So this is a person who has been on the front line of all the important value wars that we've been fighting for the last 2 decades. And she is by far the strongest choice to be Attorney General.
Yeah. And again, here's Donald Trump once again elevating a woman to a very high position. I mean, the Attorney General, the most high-profile attorney in America, aside maybe from being on the Supreme Court. And so this is a powerful position. And look, as you look to close the border, deal with some of the things that have gone wild over the last 4 years, she is the right person at the right time from where I sit. What would you think should be her priority list?
I think the priority list is going to start with the border. It's not just helping to figure out how to legally deport all of these people who are here illegally, but it's also perhaps bringing prosecutions against the elected officials in many states who enable this, who allow the illegal immigrants to stay and to hide within the system and refuse to cooperate with federal immigration authorities to have them deported. I think that, doing that would send a powerful message that this is an administration of law and order, and that you can't abuse your role as a mayor, as a city council person, or even as a governor to allow the breaking of the laws of this country in order to foster a progressive agenda of bringing in people who shouldn't be here. I think that is going to be her top priority and where the biggest fight is going to be.
Well, when I talk about the border, one of the things that's made headlines here, Gerard, in the last few days, are governors of different states saying we're not going to enforce these laws. If Donald Trump says we're going to deport people, if we're going to take criminals out of the country, we're not going to do it. Well, it's going to be a pretty big challenge to an attorney general. I saw somebody write on social media, I might not disagree with it. You know what, California, you don't want to deport them? Keep them. The states that want to deport. And the rest of you can all go gather in the states that don't want to be people. That'll teach them a lesson. Now, it's probably not going to happen that way. So she's going to have a very powerful hand in how these laws are enforced, isn't she?
She is, and look, I hate to disagree with you, but these immigrants don't want to stay in these failed left-wing states. They want to go to states where there's economic opportunity. That's why this has made a bigger crisis throughout the country. In the left-wing states, there are no jobs, there's no opportunity for people who pay taxes, or for those of us, for those of us who do and are honest in their living, and for those who came illegally, there are no opportunities. That's left-wing government. So these immigrants don't want to stay there. They want to go all over the place. But for Bondi, I think the biggest priority, if the biggest priority is immigration, she will have her hands full. But it's also worth pointing out, no one has done anything like this before. A concerted effort to actually enforce the law and hold people accountable, not just to deport people who shouldn't be here, but to fix the system. When you allow elected officials to flout the laws, to break them, to say that they're not cooperating, and not just that, but to obstruct the application of federal law, that creates problems to our system of government that needs to be addressed. That will be her priority. She will have her hands full, but I think she is the right person for the job.
And you mentioned that earlier in the conversation here, the fact that she has been a stalwart supporter of Donald Trump. I think that is key here. Look, you look at the people he's putting around him. The first term as president, he made some, let's be honest, some rookie mistakes. He made some mistakes of putting people into positions that didn't turn out to be great choices because he wasn't familiar with the landscape of the people in Washington. He's not making those mistakes this time around quite clearly. I mean, look, Pam Bondi is as good as they get when it comes to somebody who's 2 terms, the Attorney General of the state of Florida, well-versed on drug laws, gun laws, people coming into the country illegally, as we've talked about. He's not making the same staffing errors he made the first time. He's putting together what I consider to be, across the board for the most part, an all-star team. What say you?
I would call this the varsity team. We saw many attempts in his first term, and it didn't always work out. But this is definitely the varsity team of people who know the system, who know how to work the system, but have not been corrupted by the system. And now with experience in and out of government, Donald Trump knows who to trust. People keep saying that it's loyalty. It's not loyalty. It's trust. It's being able to trust the people under you to implement your agenda. And what we've seen from all the appointments so far are people that Donald Trump actually trusts. But more than that, people who are competent, people who know the system, who know how to do things, how to get things done. So this is a varsity team, and they're clearly ready to hit the ground running. We've seen appointments being made at a fast clip and really filling out the cabinet and other positions very quickly. So I think if this is what we will see for the next 4 years.
Yeah, and here's something else that is going to be critical to Donald Trump beginning at noon on the 20th of January, and that is being able to have these people actually confirmed. You look at Matt Whitaker. Now is going to be the ambassador to NATO, I believe, was the acting attorney general for a period of time because they wouldn't confirm him, they being the United States Senate. You're not going to have that problem this time, and if you do, there are Republicans like Lisa Murkowski or Susan Collins, whoever it might be, that would stand in the way of a nomination for confirmation. They're going to pay a price for that because Donald Trump won the popular vote. He won the Electoral College by a wide margin. He picked up several seats in the United States Senate. And so, therefore, people are not going to have much patience for the United States Senate and Republicans, be it Tom Tillis or John Cornyn, or whoever may be a little bit weak-kneed or soft-spined. I don't think America's going to have the patience for that. What do you think?
I think you're absolutely right. This is a mandate. The Republicans got not just the White House and the Senate, but the House as well, which is very important because we're not going to be distracted by idiotic attempts to impeach Donald Trump from day one. So this really is a sweeping mandate. And I think that the American public, who voted in record numbers for Trump and for his people in the Senate and in the House, will not tolerate more obstruction or more attempts to derail the government.
You know, I want to look at one other thing here. Michael Whatley has demonstrated the ability of the Republicans to play ball where the Republicans were getting kicked around previously. And what I mean by that is you look at what happened in the state of Pennsylvania, that is settled now, that Senate seat, because the Republicans were ready for the lawfare. Look, Pam Bondi, if she's confirmed, and I can see no reason she would not be confirmed in a speedy fashion to be the Attorney General of the United States, is going to face lawfare from the left. They're going to try every game, every tactic, every little sleight of hand they can to stop Donald Trump in the courtroom because they couldn't stop him at the ballot box. They couldn't stop him with, impeachments and raids on Mar-a-Lago and if you will, trumped up charges of this or that and everything else. So one of the toughest places that Pam Bondi and her department might have to go is through the lawfare process when, whether it's a governor or different organizations, come after Donald Trump. I give the last word here, Gerard, because I think that's going to be one of the biggest challenges for her.
It is, but you know what? We're used to it. We saw this in Trump's first term. We see this in every Republican's term. We have lawsuit after lawsuit trying to stop agendas. We've gotten used to it, and we've gotten good at winning. So this is not the biggest concern that I have. We shouldn't be worried about settling personal or political differences. We need to focus on actually enforcing the law, and now we have an attorney general nominee who seems very ready and willing and able to do that. So we're looking for a strong 4 years of actually enforcing America's laws.
Yeah, I completely agree. Greatly appreciate you being here, Gerard. I think that Pam Bondi was a strong selection. She may have been the selection the whole time, and there may have been something else afoot. I think that's a fair way to put it. A lot of people in MAGA world still like Matt Gaetz. I don't know where he lands, but right now he's got some free time on his hands. Gerard, thank you.
Always a pleasure. Thank you.